Hi everybody and welcome to The Swimming Teacher. If we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Karen. I've been a swimming teacher for 15 years and due to lockdown, I've decided that I'm going to put my techniques on the line to try and help you out at home to teach your child how to swim. Last week, we were talking about how to get your child to close their mouth and put their lips in the water. If you happen to miss that episode, I'm going to put a link in the card above as well as in the description below. So if you missed that episode, please check it out. And also, if you find value in these videos, consider subscribing as well as pushing the like button. And if you have any questions or anything you would like to ask me, please write it in the comments below and I will always try to get back to you. Anyway, let's move on to lesson number 2, how to get your child to take a breath and submerge their nose and their mouth in the water. The first activity that we are going to teach your child is how to get them to hold their breath. Now, when I'm explaining this to a child, I like to over dramatize a little bit and use loud noises because children are very visual. So if they can see what you're doing, it makes it a little bit easier for them to figure things out. So when I teach a child how to inhale, I like to make a large sucking sound such as this. And when I get them to put the air in their mouths, I like to refer to a hamster because it looks like I've got hamster cheeks. Now, you can use any reference to any animal that you particularly like or that your child finds interesting as well. So the activity that we're trying to get your child to learn to do is to suck in the air and put it in their cheeks. It should look something like this. Now, your child may need a little distraction while you're counting to 3 because we're trying to get your child to hold their breath for at least 3 seconds. So I like to get my trusty fingers out. So get them to take a breath. Once you get to 3, ask them to blow the air out, similarly to what they did last week. You can also start to introduce the terms inhale and exhale. Now you want to check that your child is not having any air escape from their noses. So what I like to do is put a baby finger under the child's nose so that I can feel if any air is trickling out. If you do feel like a little bit of air is coming out of their noses, gently pinch their nose while they're holding their breath. It would look something like this. Make sure to only pinch their noses for a second or 2 so that they can feel what it's like to fully hold the air inside their mouths. Now, get your child to practice this 5 to 10 times until they feel comfortable. And when they do, and they're doing all of the actions on your verbal cues, it is time to move on to the next activity, which is to get your child to submerge their nose and their mouth in the water whilst comfortably holding their breath for 3 seconds. Now, you can do these activities in the bath, getting them to make sure that they are looking down, or you could do it with your trusty Tupperware of water. I'm using a smaller Tupperware this week just to demonstrate that it doesn't matter what size you use as long as you've got a little bit of water, enough to get your child to submerge their nose and their mouth. So our children are now comfortable with holding their breath for a minimum of 3 seconds, holding the air in their cheeks and not letting it escape from their noses. Now, what we're going to do is get them to follow our instructions. You need to make sure you are very clear what you would like them to do. I would also demonstrate this myself before getting my child to do it. So parents out there, this is what it's going to look like. You are going to take a breath. I'm gonna move back a little bit so that you can see exactly what I am doing. I'm going to take a breath. This is how I didn't exhale until my mouth was completely free from the water. So practice this a couple of times in front of your child so they can understand what they are doing. Also, get them to count to 3 while your nose and mouth is in the water. once your child understands what they need to do, it is now time for them to have a go. So remember, get them to hold their breath. Get them to submerge their nose and their mouths, making sure that they are looking down at the water. And once they lift their heads up, make sure they fully exhale. Notice how I am giving step-by-step instructions to you. This is exactly what you want to be saying to your child. Take a breath, look down, exhale. Repeat this activity again 5 to 10 times, either with your Tupperware of water, or if you are doing these activities in the bath, you can also make sure that they are lying on their tummies and looking down, or sitting comfortably in the water, which is a little bit higher than usual. And again, getting them to take a breath. Next week, we're going to be moving on to lesson number 3, where we are going to teach your child how to submerge their eyes, nose, and mouth in the water whilst holding their breath for 3 seconds. If you don't already own a pair of goggles for your child, I would recommend purchasing them from any store. I would recommend Decathlon if you are living in Europe, or any online sporting goods store will probably do the same. If your child is not familiar with wearing goggles, I would practice this before trying to get them to do next week's activities, because you want them to focus on the activities and not on trying to get them to wear their goggles. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like my channel and you like videos like this, please consider subscribing. Please also feel free to ask me any questions if you need any further assistance in the activities that we talked about this week. If you have any friends that may find this video interesting and may want to do some activities with their child during lockdown, please share my video. I hope you guys have a good time practicing these activities, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye everyone!